Hi, my name is Bibek Adhikari. I am an English instructor. In today's class, we are going to solve the reading portion of Unit 14, that is tables and charts. So let's begin. Alright, we shall now start the reading portion of Unit 14, which is called graphs and charts. So let's begin. There are many ways of presenting information. Data is presented in graphs and charts. Have you ever seen such graphs and charts? You must have seen it, seen them. So we use different kind of graphs and charts, and among them the first that you commonly find is what is called a bar chart. And the second variety of chart that you find often is called pie chart. There is something called graph, which is simply a freehand line going up and down along the horizontal and vertical axis. After that comes histogram, which is another fancy name for bar chart. Bar charts are often called columns. So they are called clustered columns or simply columns. So they are also called clustered columns. Bar charts are just, rectangular objects that you find between the two axes. A pie chart looks like a pie. It's in circular form. That's why it's called a pie chart. A graph is simply a line, moving freely in horizontal and vertical axis. Now, histogram is a fancy name for bar chart. Now, when we think about these charts, there are primarily two types of charts. First is what we call a two-dimensional chart, something that can be viewed in a plane. Another form is called a three-dimensional chart, something that is projected outwards of the plane. So what is a plane? Plane is nothing but a combination of two directions. So we are talking about two directions, x and y, right? So how many different kind of motion is possible? Two different kind of motions are possible. The first one is horizontal motion, while the second one is vertical motion. So this thing can either move forward or backward or go upward or downward. So two different kind of motions are possible. That is why it is called a two-dimensional thing. So if we talk about adding an extra dimension, that would mean some extra movement outside of the plane or maybe inside the plane. All right. So while drawing graphs and charts, if you're especially using Microsoft Word, you'll find two choices there. The first one is a two-dimensional chart or graphs, and the second one is a three-dimensional one. You can choose any one. There's no rule like you should choose a two-dimensional thing and not the three-dimensional one. You can choose what you like. But the point is, you should know how these different graphs and charts are drawn. Alright, so we shall begin our study from the bar chart. So this is the bar chart. What is it called? It is called a bar chart. You can see number of teachers by gender, male and female. So this is female category and this is male category, right? Female and male. So how many teachers are female? Considering this as the female category, we find that there are 7 teachers. So altogether 7 teachers in female category. So if you think about the male category, here is the male category using different colors. That means there are altogether 10 male teachers. 7 female teachers and 10 male teachers. And they're represented in x-axis and y-axis. So this is the x-axis, while this is the y-axis, and they're represented likewise. This is the reference line, and this is how you draw a bar chart. So what's a bar chart? It is nothing but a combination of rectangular shapes that are drawn between x and y-axis, and that shows the relationship between two or more variables. So we have two different variables, right? We have a variable a followed by a variable b. That means it is showing a relationship between variable a and b. What kind of relationship is there? So that relationship is shown by this bar chart. Now let's study about pie chart. Alright, this is the pie chart. This is a pie chart and it represents population of Mustang district. So just by looking at it, we find that there are, 53% of the people are male and female are 47%. So this part represents the male part, right? While this part in the legend and this part in the pie chart represent the female population. Altogether, what is the total population? So what is the total percentage? 53 added by 47 is 100, right? So the percentage is 100 and the degree is 360 degrees. So the simple mathematics is, in a pie chart, everything, all the data are converted into 360 degree angle. We have just seen, 40% female and 53% male. They represent the total population. That means, 100% of people 100% represents the total population. So that 100% is converted into 360 degree, and by the help of a protector, a pie chart is drawn. So this is the center of the pie chart, or center of the circle, and angles are drawn. Likewise, this plotting is done. And what you see here is what we call a two-dimensional pie chart, simply because everything exists in a plane. So we have x and y followed by point of reference, and that suggests that this is simply a two-dimensional pie chart. Now, let's study about another bar graph. So here we have a bar graph, and it is called, the title of this is Major Religions of Nepal. What is it called? It is called a bar graph, or clustered columns, or histogram. Alright, so the total number of people, or the population, is plotted on this side. So this is what we call population on y-axis, and on x-axis what is plotted? Different religions. So I'm writing different religions. So it is a graph between different religions and population. This is the point of reference. Now this graph simply means 2,15,51,492 people are Hindu, while 23,96,099 people are Buddhist, followed by 11,62,370 Islam people, followed by 7,169 Kirat people. And then comes the Christianity, which is 3,75,699. And there are people, some people who follow Prakriti religion, and the total number of people who follow this religion is 1,21,982. And there's a religion called Bon. 13,606 people follow this, and 3,214 people follow Jainism. Baha'i people are 1,283, and 609 people are Sikh. So, the rectangular area is so less that it cannot even be plotted in this line. So everything is below, this is below 50 lakhs, so everything is below 50 lakhs. And those things, because a few thousands in terms of 50 lakh is too less, so cannot be plotted. This is the bar graph that we studied. Alright, a bar graph. Now we shall study a pie chart. Right, this is the pie chart that we have, and it shows the population of Nepal in terms of educational level. We can simply say that most of the people study primary level, then lower secondary level, and then secondary. Very few people compared to the people who attend primary level pass the SLC examination, followed by another few chunk of people who go through intermediate level, and there's a very few, a less population who opts for graduate studies, followed by a handful of people. In fact, we are talking in terms of lakhs, so it could be handful of people who really go into postgraduate level. So the pie chart shows the population of Nepal in terms of different educational level passed. It illustrates the number of people who passed different educational levels. The chart reveals that many people passed the primary level. Similarly, 32,66,513 people passed the lower secondary level, which is grade 6 to 8. There were 18,57,368 people who passed the secondary level, which means grade 9 to 10. The people who passed intermediate level or equivalent level, which is also known as, plus 2 level, was 1,36,448. Then people who passed graduate or it is very less than people who passed graduate level, which is simply 4,57,744. And when it comes to postgraduate level, only 1,50,432 people passed the postgraduate level. So this shows the educational level or the quality of Nepal. This is a two-dimensional pie chart once again. because only two x's are used, x and y, like I said earlier. Point of reference again. And by just looking at this pie chart, we can find all different kind of information. So everything is seen at a glance. What does that mean? That means you can see everything just by looking at it. You don't have to really read long paragraphs, long boring paragraphs in order to get the information. So what significance does a pie chart have? It's a graphical tool. It is a graphical representation of data, but apart from that, significance does it carry? It is visual. First point is that. Second point is, everything is seen at a glance. It's very easy. All right. Now we come to the homework section of today's class. And your homework is going to be pretty simple. All you have to do is simple and fun. All you have to do is represent your family's monthly expenditure in a pie chart and interpret it. So this is your homework. All you have to do is represent your family's monthly expenditure in a pie chart and analyze it and interpret it. So if you don't know how to draw a pie chart, you can ask your math teachers. If you don't like that idea, no worries. In another class, I will teach you how to draw a pie chart. Alright, so this is your homework. Try yourself. Ask people and get to know how to draw a pie chart. That is your homework. With this, we have come to end of today's class. If you have any questions or suggestions regarding these video series, feel free to write us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.